Welcome to TEDxYouth at LCJSMS 2017, Going Beyond.
What do you want to be when you grow up? A question asked to us dozens of times in our lives. But the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, can mean so many different things based on just your age alone. As young children, we have become accustomed to adults posing this question on us, but they never take the answer as something serious. What they are looking for is a cute answer that they can laugh about. They never take your answer as something serious because they rarely believe your answer will stay the same for the rest of your life. Adults think of it as something to forget about as life progresses. But as one begins to get older and closer to entering college, the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, isn't so cute anymore. When this question is asked to teens, the pressure is on to know exactly what your future is going to be like. And sure, even if you think you know the answer, there's never any definite way to know until you're working in that field. And many people believe that once you begin to learn and experience that particular field, that is the end of it. In reality, most college students change their major at least once in their college career. In addition to that, the average person holds 10 different careers before age 40 and 12 to 15 different careers in their entire life, and that number is projected to grow. When reading these statistics, I was shocked to learn that so many people had changed their idea of what they want to be when they grow up. So I decided to see how the people in my life ended up in the careers that they did. Before getting into my experience, let's talk some of the facts. As said before, 80% of all college students change their major at least once in their college career. But it can start even before that. In today's world, 1/2 of all college students entering college enter as an undeclared. So for those people, 18, maybe even more years later, the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, still has yet to be answered. And for the people who do enter and graduate college with a degree, only 1/2 of those people enter a field related to their major. When reading these, I was shocked. Why would people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a college degree only to end up changing their ideas? We'll talk more about that later. In a TED Talk given by Meg J, entitled Why 30 is Not the New 20, she brings up many facts reasoning about why once you turn 30, your life isn't set in stone. And yes, 80% of life's most defining moments happen before age 35. Getting married, building a family, purchasing a home, and so much more happen in these first 35 years. But what about that other 20%? I know 20% may sound small, but it can turn into something huge. Within that could be the day you decide you don't like your career and wanting to change it. With that said, I began to talk to some of the most important people in my life. I always knew what they did for a living, but never took the time to look into how they got there. Take my mother, for example. When I spoke to her, I learned that when she was around the 4th or 5th grade, she decided she wanted to become an archaeologist when she grew up, so she'd be able to dig in Egypt all day. But as she entered high school, there were a lot of different dreams. Things like languages, but also fashion and engineering. So when she'd entered college, she decided to major in Spanish, hoping to go into the field of international business. One of her first jobs after college was working at a company called Champion as a senior underwriter. But this wasn't an international job, so her goals were already changing. After working there for a while, she decided to take a 10-year hiatus to become a stay-at-home mom for my brothers and I. But as we became more self-sufficient, she knew it was time to re-enter the workforce. But now her goals had completely altered. She needed to find a job that she could both work at, but also be home with her family enough. So she decided to try substitute teaching to see if she would enjoy working in the education system, and she absolutely loved it. A few years later, she worked to become certified in special education, and now, working in that field for over 5 years, she couldn't be happier. So with this, I learned my mother was actually a part of the 50% that had earned a college degree and ended up that education not being directly beneficial to her in any of her careers. My father, on the other hand, was completely different. When I spoke to him, I learned that when he was around the 4th or 5th grade, he said he wanted to be a lawyer when he grew up. And when he entered high school, although lawyer still was one of his ideas, he was also thinking law enforcement or business. So he went to college and majored in marketing, because that was the branch of business he felt most connected to. His first job after college was selling insurance to people, and has worked in the field of business ever since. So with this, I learned my father was actually a part of the 50% of people whose degree is beneficial to them in their career. So in my own home, 2 people were using their education in 2 completely different ways. And even people like Walt Disney fit into the 50% of people who don't use their original degrees. One of Walt's first jobs was working as a newspaper editor in Kansas, but was eventually fired because he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Now, a company worth $91 billion and earned this worth with creativity and very good ideas, started with someone who apparently lacked both of these. Being fired led Walt to begin attending drawing classes at the Chicago Arts Institute. And these classes led him to become the man he is today. So being fired and changing his goals was actually the best thing that could have happened to him. Going back to what I said earlier, why would people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a college degree only to end up changing their ideas? Well, in a study done by the University of Laverne, it said the truth is more than 1/2 of all college graduates enter a field not related to their major. With this said, people today can still go to college and that education not be directly beneficial to them at all. Especially in today's world, where jobs are getting sparser, employees do look to see that you have some form of education before being given a job. So for those people, they don't know what they want to be when they grow up, and that's completely fine. As for me, I am still years and years away from entering college. But with these last few months researching this topic in such depth, I've had a lot of time to think about what this question means to me. When I was around 4 years old, I said I wanted to be a pet groomer when I grew up. Now, I would never be a pet groomer because 10 years later, my outlook has changed. And so what if I earn a degree and end up not using it? Or join a field just to end up leaving? As long as I'm happy and successful in my career, that's all I'm focused on right now. But that is just me. I'm sure you can ask any other kid right now and they'll tell you exactly what they want to be when they grow up. And they will end up joining that field and being extremely successful. Everyone is different. I leave you with this. Next time you ask someone, what do you want to be when you grow up? Think about what you're really asking. Are you looking for something serious or something that will certainly be forgotten about? And when asking this question to teens, isn't it better to teach them to have a strong work ethic than make them commit to one specific career? Kids are the future, and don't we all want the future to be an amazing place? So, the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, really does mean more than you think. Remember that. Thank you.